The story of a female spy in the heart of Gaza. She decided to marry in Gaza because the bed of any Al-Qassam fighter is worth 1,000 secret reports. My name is Clara Johansson. I am from Denmark. I was a trained agent in a European unit connected to a joint Israeli-European security network. This was not my first mission, but it was the most difficult, the strangest, and the dirtiest. I was not asked to kill, not to plant devices, not to smuggle maps, not to collect names. The mission was far more direct and far more degrading. I had to get married, not to a specific man, but to any fighter from Al-Qassam. They told me marriage is the shortest path to secrets, because the bed opens doors that guns cannot. Word for word, they said. Secrets are not spoken in formal meetings, but in bed after exhaustion, or in that long silence that follows intimacy. I was given a strong but fabricated identity, a girl from a Muslim minority in Copenhagen, a volunteer with a European organization rebuilding war-torn areas. The Palestinians were told, "We send these girls because they are Muslim and they are closer to you than other foreign women." The purpose of this identity was to make me socially acceptable, to stay close to women, and to blend in quickly without raising suspicion. The plan worked immediately. I entered Gaza with a Danish humanitarian convoy. The entry was not difficult, it was organized. I wore a hijab. In my bag was a copy of the Quran, inscribed as a gift from the Islamic Center of Copenhagen, or at least, that is what we had written. In my pocket was a small paper with short Arabic phrases. I repeated every morning, "Peace be upon you. I am a new Muslim. I love this land, that's all." Because overacting creates suspicion, and too much eloquence does not suit a new convert. I was placed in a small tent near a school turned into an aid center. The tent was simple, exposed, but ideal, because everything would begin there. Gradually, I drew closer to the women. I did not ask questions. I showed little enthusiasm. I stayed quiet. I listened more than I spoke. Then what I needed happened. They began approaching me themselves. They looked at me with curiosity and compassion, asking again and again, "Is there anyone in Europe who loves Palestine?" I would lower my head and smile gently. "I came here only for you." Simple words, but enough to open hearts. Slowly, I became one of them. They spoke freely before me about husbands, sons, martyrs, the missing, and those who left and never returned. Behind every sentence was information. Who was a martyr's mother? Who was married to a fighter? Who said, "My brother is in Al-Qassam, but he only comes at night"? Who mentioned her husband rarely came home? Every word was a thread, and I silently tied them together, like someone gathering shards of broken glass, knowing each piece reflects a hidden truth. My entry into Gaza was not accidental. Every step was pre-planned, from the crossing to the security coordination, to the center, to the tent, even the neighborhood. But the women around me knew nothing. They saw me as a lost, believing, perhaps sincere, perhaps broken girl, and they trusted men, perhaps even loved me more than expected. Then conditions in Gaza deteriorated rapidly. Bombings, siege, communication cut off, roads closed. For the first time, I felt real fear, not mission fear, but the fear of a besieged human being. Strangely, it worked in my favor. Siege makes women more accepting of strangers, especially strangers suffering alongside them, and I was that Muslim stranger with no one in Gaza. They said, "If you are alone, we are your family." One night, an elderly woman said, "Oh Clara, it is not right for a woman to live alone in Gaza. We must marry you." I smiled. Whomever Allah chooses for me, I accept. Inside me was no prayer, only alertness. The second phase had begun. The marriage was simple. No photos. No celebration. Just a sheath, 2 witnesses, and the words, "I have married you according to the command of Allah and His Messenger." At that moment, I realized I had not just entered a man's heart, but an entire system. Yet, after marriage, I felt watched. Small questions, looks, long silences. Then, quietly, a decision came. "It is better for you to return with the same program through which you came." No accusation. No confrontation. No scandal. Just a door closing silently forever. I left Gaza. Back in Copenhagen, I sat at security headquarters. The same officers who sent me surrounded me. There was failure on their faces. But inside me something else stirred, like surviving an earthquake, yet still feeling its tremor in your mind. I placed my bag on the table, the same bag from the tent and my husband's house. I took out the Quran and a small elegant wooden box given by my mother-in-law as a farewell gift. She had told me, "My daughter, do not open this until you feel completely safe. It carries the scent of Gaza." I opened it. I expected soil, prayer beds, perfume. Instead, a tinny recording device and a folded paper. It was not in Arabic. It was in Danish. "Dear Clara Johansson, your stay among us was interesting. Your new Muslim role was excellent. But you forgot that the believer is perceptive. We marry not to extract secrets from bodies, but to protect souls. We knew your identity the moment you asked about the convoy at the Rayfield crossing." I dropped the paper. The recorder was played. It contained my private whispers, my secret calls. Everything I believed was secure. Then I heard my husband's voice. "Clara, every night when you thought I was asleep, I rose for fair prayer and asked Allah to grant you true Islam, or to return you safely to your family before we had to expose you. We removed you quietly to prove to your agency that Gaza is not a land of infiltration, but a school of awareness. You were under the supervision of Al-Qassam women, the same ones who cooked for you, washed your clothes, and checked your bag at every ablution." The paper slipped from my hand. I understood. I was not an extraordinary spy, but a parasite kept alive deliberately so they could study my reactions. They did not break me with technology, they used truth. They let me live married life, descend into their secrets, though every secret I thought I gathered was baked. Then I saw the last marked verse in the Quran with Danish translation. They plot, and Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners. In that moment I understood. Gaza is not protected by guns alone, but by watchful eyes and a divine guardianship that makes even the greatest intelligence agencies look like child's play. They did not close the door because I failed, but because they had completed studying me. On the flight back, Copenhagen's cold streets passed by the car window. Inside my chest burned something strange, not the fire of defeat, but the warmth of truth. I closed my eyes and remembered my mother-in-law, a teacher, a caller to faith, who held study circles in shelters. At that moment, my heart spoke before my lips. "I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and that Al-Qassam are among the best of Allah's soldiers." I had fallen in love with their prayer, their truthfulness, their dignity, which hunger and bombs could not break. Today, my body is here, but my soul hangs upon Gaza's walls. I wish I could return not as a spy, but as a guardian. But every night, one question breaks me. Who will watch for me? How can I convince them that Clara has died and a sincere Muslim woman has been born in her place? Oh Allah, if return to Gaza's soil is not destined for me, then grant me their companionship in paradise, where there is no deception, no missions, no masks, only souls united in your love.